Yo, thank you for joining. I really appreciate it. It's another day. It's 1:24 p.m. Pacific time. It's June 22nd, 2026. Hope you're having a good day. Let's begin. In a recent post posted in June 21st, Bernie Sanders tweeted, "At a time when America faces huge income and wealth inequality, a broken healthcare system, and high prices, the only policy the GOP has is to divide us and foster hatred and bigotry." Recently, two Muslim Republicans were told to either convert or leave the Texas GOP convention. As posted in Texas Tribune, another tweet, a Muslim Texan hoping to participate in the state Republican convention left in tears after being told explicitly that he should leave the country. Mohammed Hussein was among four Muslims who arrived at the convention in earnest and were met with discussion of Sharia law that veered into outright Islamophobia. Continuing, progressive Democrats are winning in just about every corner of America. Sweet victories are fueled by demands of voters who want new leaders and authentic advocates. The conventional wisdom has historically been that the best primary outcome in a competitive election is for an experienced moderate candidate, poll tested and handpicked by party leadership, to waltz to a nomination. But in key primary elections this year, progressive leaders are pursuing a different approach. Elected officials like Bernie Sanders, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and Ro Khanna, as well as organizations like the Democratic Socialists of America, Our Revolution, the Working Families Party, and Justice Democrats, are throwing their weight behind candidates whose values and records align with the growing economic populist movement on the left. And in just about every corner of America, they're winning. In Michigan's open Senate race, Chuck Schumer has made his support of moderate Representative Haley Stevens clear. But that hasn't stopped Abdul El-Sayed from climbing in the polls. Running on a platform of taxing billionaires, ending the corrosive effects of money in politics and Medicare for El-Sayed has picked up endorsements from Sanders, Representative Ro Khanna or Revolution, and the influential United Auto Workers Union. Meanwhile, despite being bruised by his list of scandals, oyster farmer and Marine Corps veteran Graham Plattner has risen in polls, demonstrating the burgeoning power of Maine's voters and upstart progressive candidates. Facing almost certain defeat in Maine, Schumer's handpicked candidate Governor Janet Mills suspended her campaign and cleared the path to Plattner's primary victory. In other races down the ballot, progressives are also demonstrating alternative leadership on foreign policy, particularly when it comes to Gaza, as Sanders and occasional Ocasio-Cortez foreign policy advisor Matt Duss has argued in The Nation and to Esther Klein, the future of the party's success could depend on their willingness to show courage on this issue. Per Duss, Democratic voters want their leaders to be on the right side of Gaza. But it also gets to a much larger idea of, can I trust this person? Are they for real? Or are they just going to regurgitate the usual set of establishment talking points? Sure enough, Khanna just endorsed activist Elijah Manley, who is challenging Debbie Wasserman Schultz after she jumped into the Florida 20 race post-redistricting. The very first line of his endorsement, Elijah Manley refuses corporate money and opposes genocide. Meanwhile, in NJ12, Sanders-backed Dr. Adam Hamaway won his June primary on his history of service as a medic in Gaza and his belief that the U.S. should be spending on healthcare, not bombs. Same goes for Randy Villegas, who defeated an Israel lobby-backed opponent in California's 22nd district, Analilia Mejia, a labor organizer who has strongly criticized Israel and who won the special election for the NJ11 House seat, and Brad Lander, who divested the city's pension funds from Israel as New York City's comptroller and is well positioned to defeat Dan Goldman in the NY10 primary. All have taken a strong position on Gaza. All are endorsed by Sanders, and all are likely to join Congress next year and help reshape the national conversation. Moving on. Iran comes back to table and agrees roadmap to final peace deal with US after storming out. Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi hailed major progress this morning after his country came back to the negotiating table to agree a roadmap to a final peace deal with the US within 60 days. The Iranians had earlier stormed out of talks after Donald Trump threatened to blow the shit out of them. But Pakistani and Qatari mediators appear to have coaxed them back to try and secure a permanent end to the war. Under the roadmap, the US and Iran have agreed to create a deconfliction cell with the Lebanese government to ensure the fighting stops in Lebanon. Israel and Iran-backed terror group Hezbollah had kept exchanging fire despite Donald Trump's memorandum of understanding. As a result, Mr. Trump told Iran to tell the group to stop or risk being hit very hard again. Mr. Araghchi said the first real test of the roadmap will be the effectiveness of that effort in Lebanon. The US and Iran will also set up a communication line to avoid incidents and miscommunication in the Strait of Hormuz under Monday morning's roadmap. Mr. Araghchi also claimed that frozen assets have been released and the major reconstruction and development plan had been launched. But the Pakistan-Qatar joint statement, which outlines the communication line and the confrontation cell, does not mention any unfreezing of Iranian assets. The White House, meanwhile, has not yet commented. Vice President J.D. Vance has started the talks with Iranian officials in Switzerland on Sunday under the terms of the MOU. That treaty signed in Versailles was reached last week to extend a dicey ceasefire for at least another 60 days. Discussions in Switzerland then rumbled on until the early hours of Monday. Just before talks officially began on Sunday, Mr. Trump told Fox News that he told the Iranians, "You won't have a country," if they tried to close that strait again. The president also repeated an earlier warning that the U.S. would take over the waterway and even charge a toll of its own. He said he had signed the MOU to avert a global economic depression from high oil prices caused by the strait's closure. The economies of the world then looked on in relief after oil prices fell back to pre-war levels. After the joint statement, Brent crude futures fell further, sinking to $79.44 a barrel. Now, technical discussions will continue for the rest of the week in the Qatari-owned Swiss mountain resort of Bergenstock. The Iranian delegation is being led by Chief Negotiator Mohammed Ghalibaf and included Mr. Araghchi alongside senior security, banking, and oil officials. After storming out the talks, Iran said they had paused but not ended. "We do not take American threats into account," bristled Mr. Ghalibaf after Mr. Trump's threat. "They would do better to be careful with their statements, or armed forces are ready to respond to them in a different manner. Not matter what they say, we are the ones who act," he crowed. In addition to Mr. Vance, the American team included Special Envoys Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner. Pakistani Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif and its Army Chief Field Marshal Saeed Azim Munir were also in Switzerland to help the sessions progress as mediators alongside a Qatari delegation. In one of his tweets, Elon Musk reposted Dodge designer. Breaking news, SpaceX just received an investment-grade credit rating from Fitch for its new bond offering Fitch gave SpaceX a BBB plus rating, which means its debt is seen as reasonably safe for big investors. All three major ratings agencies now rate SpaceX as investment grade: Moody's, Fitch, and S&P. SpaceX reported over $100 billion in cash and cash equivalents after its record IPO. Fitch cited SpaceX's dominant launch business, fast-growing Starlink networks, and expanding AI compute operations as major strengths. SpaceX has delivered more than 80% of the world's mass sent to orbit since 2023. This is a major vote of confidence in SpaceX's long-term business. Moving on, did Elon Musk just hint a SpaceXTesla merger is imminent? Musk exercised 304 million Tesla options, raising his vote stake to 19.9% as he targets 25% control to advance AI ambitions. Tesla and SpaceX share AI computing, manufacturing, batteries, and semiconductors, making a merger strategically logical as Musk consolidates his tech empire. SpaceX $85 billion IPO created a $2.44 trillion company with $100.8 billion in cash, resources substantial enough to fund a Tesla merger. Are you ahead or behind on retirement? There's a smart assets free tool that you can go to. The market's attention has been fixed on SpaceX historic public debut and the company's rapid climb toward a valuation exceeding $2 trillion. Yet the bigger story may not be the IPO itself. It may be what Elon Musk does next. Over the past several years, Musk has increasingly consolidated businesses that share technology, talent, and infrastructure. First came the combination of Twitter and X. Then XAI was folded into Musk's broader ecosystem and ultimately became part of SpaceX. Now investors are watching another development closely: Musk's push to regain near blocking control of Tesla. When viewed alongside the growing overlap between Tesla and SpaceX, it raises the possibility that once seemed far-fetched, a merger between Musk's two largest companies. Musk is rebuilding his influence at Tesla. Control matters to Musk. Last Wednesday, Musk revealed his voting stake in Tesla had risen to nearly 20%. He exercised the entire allotment of almost 304 million options granted to him as part of his 2018 compensation. It brings his ownership stake in Tesla to 19.9%, moving closer to the roughly 25% level he has previously said would provide enough influence to pursue Tesla's AI ambitions without risking shareholder opposition. A separate filing showed the options were exercised at a price of $23.34 per share, $23.34 per share. Tesla stock closed at $404.66 the day before filing. The timing is notable. SpaceX completed the largest IPO in U.S. history on June 12th, raising $75 billion before underwriters expanded the offering to $85.7 billion. The company now has a roughly $2.44 trillion valuation. At the same time, Tesla remains one of the world's largest industrial and AI-focused companies, as Musk gains greater control over the EV maker while simultaneously commanding a new public $2 trillion. SpaceX investors are right to wonder whether these companies are headed toward a common destination. The strategic case is growing stronger. A merger will not simply combine two large companies. It would unite businesses that increasingly depend on the same resources. Tesla's autonomous driving systems require enormous AI computing power. SpaceX, Starlink network, and AI initiatives require the same. Tesla is developing Optimus humanoid robots, while SpaceX relies heavily on advanced manufacturing and automation. Both companies consume large quantities of batteries, semiconductors, and computing infrastructure. The overlap continues to expand. According to SpaceX's recent SEC filings, the company held approximately $100.8 billion in cash and cash equivalents as of June 19, giving it financial flexibility few corporations possess. Musk has also demonstrated a clear preference for consolidation. The merger of XAI into SpaceX created a combined platform spanning artificial intelligence, communications, manufacturing, and aerospace. A Tesla transaction would fit that pattern. Granted, a merger involving companies worth several $trillion would face intense regulatory scrutiny and shareholder review. The logistics alone would be daunting. That said, investors should not dismiss the possibility simply because of the scale. A $2.44 trillion titan in the making, Elon Musk's silent consolidation is turning a fringe theory into a $1 trillion market reality. 24/7 Wall Street, yo. Why investors should pay attention. The strongest evidence may not be any single statement Musk has made, but rather the direction of travel. Musk has repeatedly described AI infrastructure as the defining challenge of the next decade. He has also shown little interest in keeping related businesses separated when integration could accelerate growth. A combined SpaceXTesla entity would give shareholders exposure to electric vehicles, energy storage, autonomous driving, humanoid robotics, satellite communications, artificial intelligence, space transportations. Few companies could match that breadth. Key takeaway here is, in short, no merger has been announced, and investors should treat any near-term combination as speculation rather than certainty. However, the pieces are falling into place. Musk's growing voting control at Tesla, SpaceX newly public $2.4 trillion platform, and the increasing overlap between both businesses suggest a merger is no longer a fringe idea. Investors should recognize that Musk appears to be building an integrated technology empire rather than a collection of standalone companies. The market may still be underestimating what that ultimately looks like. If you've been thinking about retirement, pay attention. There's a smart asset simple quiz that you could take. And obviously, you can know more about that later. And one of the things that happens here, is that, there's politics. There's, people sponsoring people, endorsing people. There's a strait that is at war. And obviously there's technology being integrated and unifying companies from different parts of the world into one infrastructure. Something like that. Yo, anyways, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, comment down below, let me know what you think. Follow me on Instagram, The Studio 11. Follow me on X, The Studio 2020. I like to say Twitter. Follow me on Twitter. Thank you for joining, and I'll see you on the next one.